Hello, everybody, and welcome to the third episode of The Interview. I'm your host, Grossi, with the other host, Charlie.
On this episode, which is obviously the third episode, we have a rather famous member of the YWC, Assault and Battery 777, on the interview to interview him about YouTube wrestling and pretty much everything like that.
Alright, guys, we're here with Assault and Battery 777. And we're gonna ask.
Hey guys.
Oh, yeah.
How's it going?
We're gonna ask him some questions. So the first question is, how'd you get into wrestling?
Really, it's been around for as long as I remember, to be honest. Like, I remember growing up having the Super Nintendo, even the original Nintendo, and playing games like Raw and then the WrestleMania arcade game. It's really like my earliest memories just playing wrestling video games. But really, I started acknowledging what's going on in about maybe 95, 96. That's really what I can honestly say. Like, I started grasping the information. So, around that time.
Yeah. We know that you have a massive wrestling collection, so what is the most valuable thing in your collection?
Probably the world title. I know a lot of people have been asking me that, but if I were to keep like 5 things, the world title would definitely be the number one thing on the list. It was the first major thing I got, so it kind of holds a special place.
When did you actually start collecting?
Like hardcore collecting was when I pretty much started doing YouTube videos. You can see one of my first videos was I got 4 huge wrestling boxes. I was filled with figures and whatnot. But honestly, the year before, it was my DVD collection was about half of a bookshelf, and in a matter of a year, it just blew up to like I wouldn't like much this big. But when I started YouTube videos is when I really started collecting hardcore.
Oh yeah. So when did you actually start making your YouTube videos?
February 2009.
And why did you make YouTube videos? Is there like a reason, or did you start making them?
No, I was on YouTube since like 2007. I used to watch like a whole bunch of guys who used to make wrestling videos, and I always wanted to do it. I just never had the guts to get in front of the camera. So when I finally decided to, it was like, you kind of just got the ball rolling from there. But I was on since 2007, just commenting and watching videos.
Okay, cool.
How did you get to meet like Stevie Breach and the rest of them kind of guys?
Miguel was one of the guys I started watching because when the time I started making videos, the belt reviews were a big thing to like make. And Sourcey 90, do you guys know who that is?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was another guy. He was huge at the time because he had all these belts. And him and Miguel were good partners freaking A88. So that's how I got in touch with Miguel. And then Steve kind of just came along because him and Miguel kind of plugged each other's channels. So that's how I just got in touch. It was just totally random. And then Luke Cage, I met him in a Blog TV chat when randomly I got invited. And yeah, at first I was bashing him. Like, I tell him the story all the time. I used to bash them like so much. I used to make fun of him. And then it turns out like now we're pretty good friends. But yeah, it was quite very random, all 3 of them.
Okay, so the next question is kind of got a backstory to it. So me and Josh have this other friend from Australia, from Melbourne, called Hardy Malhotra. Now,
am I related to him? Is that what you're gonna ask?
Yes, pretty much.
I should just say yeah and just keep a good story going, but it's it's totally coincidence that we have the same last name. But maybe I should talk to them. We can make a big story out of it. Like long lost cousins or something.
A Sean's You Entertainment storyline.
Yeah, exactly. Make some shit up. I'll have it go. If I talked to him, he brought it up. He's like, we wouldn't happen to be related, would we? I'm like, no, I don't think so, but there's always that small chance. But most likely we're not.
Have you ever like been in a wrestling ring?
Yeah, twice. I know I've been in a TNA ring once. That was when I got a picture with the Motor City Machine Guns and Kurt Angle. And then there was another India show where they just, you're kind of just going around, and then I just kind of slid in just to see what it would feel like to be in a ring. That was in early 2008. So I was about 17 at the time. but most recently was in 2010 at a TNA show.
Okay. Have you ever thought of training to be a wrestler or trained at all?
Well, I used to do wrestling in high school, and it was always like, obviously, if you're a fan, you always want to be a wrestler. So I thought about it here and there, but I broke my ankle twice during wrestling, so it was kind of, I know like, it's not easy, and I'm not that kind of person who's gonna really go out of my like. Pretty much, I'm lazy, is what I'm trying to say. So, I'm not gonna put so much effort into it. I enjoyed wrestling in high school a lot, but just I know the lifestyle a wrestler has, and it's not something I really want to put myself through. Kind of, I always want to be in wrestling, like the business in general. That's why I do YouTube videos. You kind of feel like you're part of the business when you do that kind of stuff, because you technically are. Even you guys, like everyone on YouTube is technically part of the wrestling business, whether you be a wrestler or just a YouTuber talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's the nicest wrestler you've ever met?
Number one, I made a video on it. I'm pretty sure, I don't even remember who I said now. But I know Booker T comes to mind, Ric Flair comes to mind, Rowdy Piper comes to mind. Who else? Yeah, those are top three. Edge is another guy. I'd probably say Edge. I think Edge is one of the coolest guys I've met, for sure.
So do you have any like goals for your YouTube channel, or like goals of subscribers that you want to get?
Not really. No, like I know Steve always looks at the YouTube subscriber count, and he's like, "Oh, I'm almost catching up. I'm almost this," but subscribers really don't. It's not a really big thing anymore. It's just like my main goal was to get a partnership when I first started, and then when I got it, it's like, now what? Now I do it just because, honestly. It's fun still to me, but there's no goals, not really, no. Maybe get on like a TV show one time, I don't know. Maybe interview a wrestler. I don't know. There's a lot of things I can plan to do, but it's for goals, no, not really.
How did you come up with the name Assault and Battery 777?
There is a funny story towards that. My first indie show I went to, the tag team, their name was Assault and Battery. And when I was making the account, it said, like, pick a name, and I was sitting there, and across from me was their autograph, so I'm like, okay, Assault and Battery, that sounds like a good name. And then it was already taken, so I needed numbers. And then when I was probably 12, I won a jelly bean contest for, like, counting how many jelly beans are in a jar. And I put 777, and there was like 800, like low 800s, and I ended up winning because I got the closest amount. So that number always stuck with me.
Okay.
Put together.
Who is your favorite wrestler ever and currently, and why?
Stone Cold Steve Austin, forever. Because pretty much my childhood, like when I was growing up, pretty much 8 to 11, 8 to 12, Steve Austin was the man, and like he was the coolest guy in the world. So it was like he was definitely, like, out of everyone I want to meet, even still, Steve Austin's number one on that list. And then as for currently, Daniel Bryan, because I think he's one of the very few guys on the roster that can actually wrestle, and that's what wrestling needs right now, are guys who can actually go in the ring, not guys like who are found off the beach of Florida, and they put them in FCW or NXT and teach them how to wrestle. I like guys who kind of know how to work and can put on exciting matches.
Yeah. How many wrestling events have you been to?
Oh, I don't know. It's so many. Like, my first one I'll remember, but after that it was just like so many. I would definitely say over maybe less than 100 for sure. I would say close to 50. Maybe less.
Wow. Yeah.
When do you think Ziggler will cash in?
I was hoping I read first, and Ziggler's already in a tag team match. It's not going to make sense. But I could definitely see by SummerSlam he'll be the champion. Maybe even at SummerSlam, I think he might cash in.
Okay. What are you looking forward to most at WrestleMania this year?
Actually, I posted this question on my Facebook page. For me, the match I'm looking forward to is Triple H versus Brock Lesnar, because the match is a no-holds-barred match, and Lesnar's a brawler. Triple H has enough. Well, Triple H has everything to lose, but Triple H knows how to, work those kind of matches where you get really physical with a guy. So I honestly want to see Brock and Triple H beat the hell out of each other.
Okay.
that's like pretty simply it.
So who, like, I think you've already kind of answered this with Stone Cold, but who was your idol as a kid? Like,
yeah, I would say Stone Cold Steve Austin for sure. Because I would say Shawn Michaels, but at the time, like, that's when I first started watching. Shawn Michaels was the man, but I was definitely so young at the time where Shawn and Brett, I couldn't really appreciate what they were doing because I was so young. But when I really started to grasp the storylines and who was, good and bad, Steve Austin was always the guy that stuck out to me.
Okay. What is your favorite event that you've ever been to?
WrestleMania 28 for sure. It was my first time on the floor, and just you saw Rock and Cena for the first time. I saw Hell in a Cell for the first time. Yeah, that by far is. It's a close second with WrestleMania 27 because it was my first WrestleMania, but 28 really took it out of this world for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What are your hobbies outside of like wrestling and YouTube and that kind of thing?
Well, I enjoy just doing lots of stuff. I play hockey here and there in the wintertime. In the summertime, I go rollerblading with Jade. And I work for, most of the time I'm in school to be a police officer. And so, I kind of got to do other stuff.
Okay. We asked the wrestler we had on 2 days ago, and we're going to ask you again. Can you pronounce Fandango's name?
Of course I can. Go. Easy. Just like that. I actually laughed at Jericho's promo when he called him Dodge Durango. And I don't know where that came from, but I laughed so hard. Only at that one. Everything else I just kind of chuckled at, but as soon as he said Dodge Durango, I started laughing. How did the other Australian or the other wrestler say it? Spot on.
Oh yeah, it's 100% perfect. Okay.
Nice. I can't wait to see that guy salsa down the aisle. It's gonna be funny.
Oh, it's good because the ramp at Mania is probably gonna be really long, so that's gonna be funny.
Yeah. Match. I was thinking maybe the dancer will like break her heels. Like she's wearing some high shoes. I don't know if you guys noticed. She's gonna take a tumble, and that's gonna be embarrassing.
Okay, so thanks for coming on. And
thanks for having me. It's fun.
Yeah, it was good to talk to you for the first time.
Nice. Well, be sure to send me the link, and then I'll plug it on my Twitter. Everyone can listen to us.
Oh, cool. Do you have any like plugs that you wanna, like your Twitter or whatever?
At AAB777 on Facebook and Twitter. Anyone wants to add me as a friend? I think I just hit over 1,000 friends on Facebook. 2,000 followers on Twitter, so it's going. We're steamrolling on that.
Okay.
All them links will be below as well.